Atos are in for CJI 2. And not only that, but one of the strongest teams in the competition have added Felipe Pena as a wild card. So does that make Atos the favourites for CJI 2? That's the question Ross, I'm asking on this latest edition of the Jiu Jitsu Oracle, which is coming off the news that Atos have confirmed their participation in the Craig Jones Invitational and that they've brought in one of the best grapplers in the world, Felipe Pena, as a wild card. Who will join Felipe in the ranks? Could we see the Rotolo brothers, Hulk, Kainan Duarte, Ronaldo Jr., Andy Murasaki, Andre Galvao himself, or will he stick to coaching? Let me know in the comments who you think will fill out the roster for Atos, but surely they're going to have one of the strongest teams. The only question mark, I think, is who will be their under 66 kilogram grappler. Any suggestions? You tell me. Let me know. On Felipe joining the event, I think that's an awesome signing. It means that there's no Gracie Baja involvement. So the question mark as to who's the fifth gym team still remains. We know there's going to be New Wave, B Team, 10th Planet, Atos, and then there's a gap. Then there are three continental teams, the Americas, Europe, more on them later because the trials for Team Europe are this weekend in London, and then Australasia, who've confirmed their lineup following the Giles trials. Each of those teams has the ability to add one wildcard pick from outside their gym or outside their region, and Atos have spent it on Felipe. B Team have spent it on Victor Hugo. Australasia have brought in Fabricio Andre. Three very, very strong picks. If you're a coach of one of the other teams and you haven't yet played a wild card, why not? Some of these guys have gone out and got some of the best grapplers in the world. I think it's going to be super important to have a top level grappler as the wild card pick, because if you don't, you're going to be a step behind these other regions that do. So Felipe's come in. Brilliant that he's involved in the event. I think his stock as an absolute dog, someone who's willing to take on absolutely anyone, has risen massively in recent years. Felipe held a winning record over Gordon Ryan. It was 2-0. Gordon then got 2 matches back. Felipe agreed to take on both of those matches, one in really, really difficult circumstances after the death of his close friend, Leandro Lo. One at ADCC most recently, where Felipe came close to victory. It was just a transition on a takedown that allowed Gordon to claim the title, but in that super fight, but there, Felipe Van Am close has allowed the series against the guy who's considered the best no-gi grappler of his generation to go to 2-2, even although he didn't really have to take those matches. And now, the guy he beat in the finals of his division at the ADCC on a very tough weekend for Felipe, Luke Griffith, in a close match where Felipe had a come-from-behind victory. Felipe's agreed to take him on, who's number 128 on June 13th. So Felipe, willing to take on absolutely anyone, said he's entering CJI 2 and he'd love to face Victor Hugo, one of the best heavyweight grapplers in the world right now, as part of the tournament. So, like, full credit to Felipe for always putting himself out there and facing the toughest challenges. And I think he's a great signing for Atos. The question, like, where will he fit in the team? Will he take the over 99 slot? Will it be under 99? You let me know who you think is going to fill out the roster for Atos. I mentioned the European trials. Let's dive into that a little bit deeper. It's in London on Saturday, May 24, and it's going to decide the participants in 3 of the slots. So every team taking part in CJI 2 has grapplers at under 66, under 77, under 88, under 99, and over 99. For Team Europe, we know 2 of the entrants. Under 66 is going to be Owen Jones. Under 99 is going to be Charles Negremont. Craig, on his most recent podcast on Borrowed Time, said that Charles got in pretty much because of his victory over Isaac Michel. Don't think there's any love lost between Craig and Isaac from what I can gather, but like Craig very much enjoyed Charles's victory over Isaac at ADCC and said that got him straight in the team. So, but yeah, Charles is a very credentialed grappler, been at it for a long, long time, got wins over numerous top guys in the sport. So not only was the victory over Isaac, that victory wasn't the only factor in his addition to the team, but he's in it under 99, Owen at under 66. 3 slots are up for grabs. One of the slots was going to be Mateusz Jasinski at under 77, but he's recently undergone surgery to a bicep tendon injury. So that's opened up that slot. Tommy Langacker is also injured and not taking part. Originally, Tarek Hopstock was brought into the under 77 lineup, but he's also out with injury. So we've got 4 grapplers remaining. In one side of the bracket, we've got Elish Younger against Pavel Jaworski. On the other side of the bracket, we have Tom Barry against Yigit Haney, who's replacing Tarek. Who will come through on either side? I think we'll get a final of Pavel against Yigit, and then Pavel will come through. If you lose one Polish leg lock assassin in Mateusz Jasinski, why not replace him with another one in Pavel Jaworski? Under 88, we have Ben Bennett against Taylor Pierman. And then on the other side of the bracket, Paul Ardilla against Mohamed Aftarhanov. Ben against Taylor, I think there's a rematch from the ADCC trials won by Taylor that got him to the most recent ADCC competition. So I'm going to back Taylor to come through again. On the other side, Paul is the king of the US trials with numerous victories at those events. Mohamed, plenty of guys have commented saying that don't sleep on him. He could go all the way. He could spoil the division, as it were. But I think I'm going to edge towards favouring Paul to come through to face Taylor in the final. If that's the case, that is a very, very tough matchup for Taylor to take on to secure his place on the European team. On home turf, I'm going to favour Taylor to come through, but I would not be surprised to see Paul, with all his experience in this type of event, take that slot. If he does, he would be the wild card entrant for Team Europe. That said, I'll go with Taylor for now. And then over 99, we have Thomas Bracher coming in for Arya Esfandemaz. He's up against Marcin Makovic. And then on the other side, Heikki Jesala against Philip Geyer. I think Marcin will face Heikki in the final. Interesting style matchup. Heikki very, very good on top, wrestling with pressure. Marcin got the more dangerous submissions. I think for the Team Europe makeup, they would like Marcin to come through with his higher submission threat. So I'll say he'll take it. One thing on all this, whether it was going to be under 88 or under 99, what is Ono Flanagan up to, and why is he not involved in this team? I've not heard anything. If you know the answer, please let me know. I think like Team Europe, the absentees, Mateusz Jasinski, Tommy Langacker, possibly Ono Flanagan, who doesn't seem to be involved, like they're going to be big names to have not involved with the team. We'll see who makes up the rest of the squad. It's going to be streaming on YouTube, I believe on the B Team channel on Saturday. So definitely check out that event. I'm going to be watching, and after the event's finished, I'll give a roundup as to what happened and my thoughts on who will comprise Team Europe and what their chances are in the overall event. But for now, are the early favourites to take the crown Atos, now that they've added Felipe Pena to their team? Get in the comments, let me know your thoughts. Are Atos favourites for the CJI 2 title?